Hello, friends. Ah, this is going to be a hard video for me. Um, not actually sure if I'm going to be able to get through this, but it might take me a while, but I will get through it. Okay, so many of you may already know this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. So we had to say goodbye to Oakley. Whew. Okay, so it's been a couple of weeks since he's been gone. I am finally, you can't tell now, but um I have finally gotten to the point where I can get through a day without crying until I talk about him. So I get a lot of messages on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, people wanting to know what happened. And it's not that I have been ignoring you. It's just that it's too hard to talk about. And so I decided that I'm just going to do a video. I'm just going to do a video. I'm going to explain what happened. Because it's really hard to just keep talking about it over and over again. Um, to have people keep asking what happened. And I know it's because everybody loved him. Um, Okay, I'm gonna get through this. Oh, man, it is tough. So I just have kind of taken a break from social media, the last, I don't know, week or so, because it is just too hard to have all of the questions of everybody wanting to know what happened to him. And I know a lot of people are like, he seemed fine. What the heck happened? He seemed fine. And so I just feel like I just want to do a video, explain everything once so that I don't have to keep talking about it. Because we miss him so much and it is so hard to talk about. Okay, so I am doing my best here. So if you are not familiar with Great Danes, um, giant dogs, they have a lot of health problems. They just it is it is what it is. It's a sad but true thing that you have to deal with when you love giant dogs. And so Great Danes are prone to a variety of different health problems, just mainly because of how big they are. And we knew for a long time that we had to prepare ourselves that Oakley was very, very big. He was the biggest Dane that we've ever had. And we just knew that, he probably wouldn't be around for a really long time. We were hoping that he would be. We were hoping maybe we would have, 8 to 10 years with him. That's what we were hoping for. Um, an average lifespan for a Great Dane is around 10 years. It's like, anywhere from 6 years to 10 years is kind of the norm. And it's just because they're so big and they just have health problems. And so obviously because of their size, they have a lot of joint problems. They're so big and they're carrying all that weight, that they are very prone to leg and joint problems. Um, they are prone to issues with their stomach. And if you are not familiar with Great Danes, their stomachs, because they are so large, their stomachs can flip. And if that happens, that can kill them. That can not they A lot of them don't survive that. And so there's a surgery that you do when they're puppies where you tack their stomach to the inside of their body to help keep it from flipping over. But and Oakley had that done. But even with that, he still had a lot of stomach issues. We had lots and lots of days of him, like with vomiting and stuff like that. There are a lot of things that we dealt with him that we never shared. We always shared the good things about him, all of the fun things, all of the, enjoyable things. We never really shared the things that were difficult with him. And so that was one thing we dealt with him. Um, Great Danes are also prone to heart problems, kidney problems, thyroid problems. And so our previous Dane, Magic, he had a lot of kidney problems. And that was when I learned that Great Danes are prone to kidney problems because I didn't really know that. Um, so there's just a lot of different health problems that you can have with Danes just in general because of their size. And so with Oakley, probably we started to notice a decline in him probably about a year ago. Uh, he just wasn't moving as well as he had been. He had a lot of issues with his kidneys. So, some of you probably have seen me talk about this. I've talked about this on my Instagram stories and on Facebook stories, and I think Snapchat. I've even done a few YouTube videos where I have talked about dealing with this with him. The first time it happened, it was really, really scary. And I want to say that was like, I don't know, maybe a year or two ago. I can't actually remember exactly when it happened the first time, but it was really scary. Um, he just got to a point where he couldn't control his bladder. And so he would be like panting, like he was overheating, and like he would drink water and the urine would just run out of him, like he had no control over it. And so um we always knew when this was happening because he would go outside and he would pee a little bit, walk, pee a little bit, walk, pee a little bit, walk, and it would be like little sprinkles of pee. Like he could never have a solid stream of pee. And it was like he would just walk and pee, and he would do that like probably 15 or 20 times just all over the yard. And it was just not normal. It wasn't normal. We knew that something was not right. Um, and so the first time that that happened, we thought, well, that's really strange that he's doing that, but we've never seen that before. We didn't know why he was doing that. And then he came inside that day and he laid down on the floor and he just peed all over the floor. And he peed all over his bed. I mean, it was like, soaking wet. And that wasn't normal for him because he was potty trained and he never had accidents and he never did anything like that. So the first time that happened was really scary. I started crying. I was like, "Oh my God, something's wrong with him. He is, he's dying. What's going on?" And so we had taken him into the vet that first time. And for whatever reason, we really don't know why this happens. Um, the vet said it could be that he drank too much water too fast. Um, but for whatever reason, his kidneys couldn't keep up with the water. I mean, his kidneys were not concentrating his urine like they were supposed to. So every time he would drink water, it would just go right through him and pour right out because his kidneys weren't doing what they were supposed to do. So when that happened, we would have to put him through a water deprivation. And if you've ever had to put one of your dogs through that, I think that sometimes you have to put horses through that too. I'm not sure, but I think I've heard people say that. Um, Sorry, I'm just I'm a mess. Um, so anyway, for 3 days, he couldn't have any water. He could have like, I want to say it was like a fourth, no, an eighth, an eighth of a cup of water 3 times a day. And that was it. And it was basically to force him into dehydration and kind of shock his kidneys into doing what they were supposed to do. And so, The first time we had to do that, it was absolutely horrible. He wanted water so bad. He was walking around the house, licking the faucets, licking the bowls, just trying to find water anywhere. It was a long 3 days. I remember how dreadful it was the first time. And so then after the 3 days, then we would have to take a urine sample back into the vet, have his urine checked again. And it was all about his specific gravity. So when that would happen, his specific gravity would be like way, way, way low, like super low. So then we would do the water deprivation, and then we would take another urine sample in with the goal of getting that specific gravity to come back up to a normal range, which would then mean that, okay, his kidneys are concentrating the urine like they're supposed to. So that worked. Um, that happened. I've lost count of how many times that happened. Um, the first time it happened, it was super scary. The second time it happened, it was still a little scary because we were like, why is this happening again? And we still, we took urine into the vet. We're like, we think this is happening again. He's doing the thing where he, pees everywhere. And so, yeah, it had happened again. And, so multiple times is what I'm getting at. He had kidney problems. He had multiple times where we had to put him through this water deprivation. It was horrible. Like the first time that it happened, the vet said that, if the water deprivation did not work, then, mm, we would be talking about things we didn't want to talk about at that time. And like I said, that was a couple years ago. And so, just over the last couple of years, that's happened a few times. And I think this year alone, I want to say it maybe happened like 3 times, I think, maybe since the beginning of this year that we had to do that. So that was just one thing that we dealt with with him, where we knew when that happened, okay, so he's got some kidney problems. So we just need to know that, things might go downhill quickly. We just don't know. So there was that. The other thing, and this was something that we noticed since he was a puppy, it was very, very weird. He had this weird twitching that he would do, like this. I don't even know how to explain it. Like it would just be like he would just twitch, just weird twitching. And we never knew why he was doing that, but it would just be very random. He would be standing and start twitching. He would be eating his food, start twitching. He'd be going to the bathroom, twitching. It was very weird, but we didn't really know what was causing that. We, mentioned it to the vet, but it wasn't really a major thing. So we just knew there was something weird about that he had that going on. Um, So I would say over the last probably 6 months, I mean, we noticed probably about a year ago that he started to really decline, whereas just not the energy he normally had and not getting around as well as he normally did. And probably about 6 months ago, we really noticed a significant decline to where um, like he always would be very active during the day. Like he was always on the move, always wanting to go outside, always wanting to be doing something. And then he got to the point where that really slowed down, and he would wake up in the morning, he would eat his breakfast, he would go outside and potty, and then he would sleep all day, and like all day. And then we would actually have to make him get up to eat dinner at night. And then sometimes he didn't even want to go outside to potty after he ate his dinner, which was really weird because he would go out and potty at least, I don't know, several times throughout the day normally. And so we just thought that was kind of weird. He was slowing down. Things were noticeably changing with him, that he just was aging and getting more tired, and he didn't have the energy that he usually had. And we talked to the vet about all of this stuff, and we started giving him multivitamins, and we started giving him glucosamine and chondroitin for his joints and all the things. We were doing all the things. We changed his food to some different food, just like aging large breed dog food. um so we just knew that he was declining. And so We really noticed, I don't even remember exactly when we noticed this for the first time. It might have been maybe even a year ago. We noticed his front leg, he had like a tremor. I don't even know how else to explain it. It reminded me of like if dogs could have Parkinson's, then that's what it would remind me of because his front leg would just shake and just like he would be standing eating his food and his front leg would just be shaking. And sometimes he would lift it up like he didn't want to put any weight on it. You could tell it was bothering him. But it was just, it wasn't all the time. It was just every once in a while you would notice that shake. Or when he would go outside to potty and he'd be standing holding himself up, then that front leg would start shaking. We don't know. At one point we brought it up to the vet, but it wasn't super severe at that time to where it didn't seem like it was that big of a deal. Like it maybe it was just a tired muscle or something. I don't know. We don't know if like he had some kind of a nerve thing going on that, because of that twitching he's always had, and then the development of this leg tremor. Um, I don't know, but over the last several months, that front leg tremor had got worse and worse and worse. And so we were noticing over the last year, at least the last year, um, every time we would take him to his boarding place, even if it was just for one day, like if we would take him for one day, one overnight, and bring him home, he couldn't walk. Like he wouldn't be able to walk for like 3 days. Like he would have, because he loved going to daycare, he loved going like overnight boarding. He loved that because he loved playing with other dogs and he loved seeing new people. So, um, we tried to, even if we didn't have anything going on, we still tried to take him to daycare or do boarding with him just so he could have the interaction with the dogs because he loved playing with his friends. So just just one day, even if we just took him in the morning and then picked him up at in the evening, one day of playtime with his friends, then he wouldn't be able to walk for 2 to 3 days, which is not normal. I mean, normally a dog should be able to have activity for one day and, you know, not be crippled for 3 days. So we knew things were declining. And I mean, that was going on for at least a year, maybe longer. I don't know. The time has kind of run together, so I'm not sure. But um, he was having a lot of trouble with his legs and his joints and just getting around, and that front leg with the tremor was a big issue. We never talked about it. We never shared this because, nobody wants to see or hear about the struggles. So anytime we would share anything with Oakley, it was always, the happy fun stuff that we were doing with him. He used to love to go for walks. We used to take him for walks every morning. I'm sure you've seen some of my YouTube videos or some of my stories where, we did our morning walks, and it's been a really long time since we've been able to do that with him because he just doesn't tolerate the activity. It got to the point where he just couldn't tolerate it. I had to take a little break. um, so anyway, those are just some of the things that we had been dealing with him over, the last year, just knowing that he was declining. And so then this year has been a really, really hard year. So the beginning of the year, he had a couple episodes, like 2 or 3 episodes with his kidneys where we had to do the water deprivation. He had 2 episodes where he got a really bad bacterial infection in his stomach. He had to be on 2 courses of antibiotics for that, which we don't really know where that came from or what happened. But so that was kind of hard on him. And then we still have no idea what initially caused this, but in March, it was like the middle of March, we noticed him really chewing on his back foot. So he's got, this front leg tremor, but then his back leg on this side, he was chewing chewing at that foot. And we realized that his toenail, he had one toenail that was bleeding. And we did not know why, or why he started chewing on it, what happened. I don't know if he caught it in something and injured it. We don't know if it was an allergy thing to where he started chewing on it. We really don't know what initially started the whole process, but he had this toenail thing going on and it was a bleeding nail. So we went to the vet, got a steroid shot. We did some topical ointments, we did some powders. We did a lot of stuff. We tried powders, ointments, sprays. I spent like hundreds of dollars on different boots to try to get boots that we could cover and wrap his foot up so that he couldn't, get to the nail. There was nothing that we could put on that foot that he couldn't get off. So we tried to put like multiple different sizes of cones on him, big donuts, big cones, just anything and everything we could try. And his legs are so long that he could still reach his foot no matter what kind of cone we put on him. So it was horribly frustrating, but um it was one nail, and then it was two, and then it was three, and then it was all of his toenails, and they were bleeding, inflamed. His paw was just a mess. And I think I mentioned this, we did a steroid shot. Maybe I didn't mention it, but we did a steroid shot to calm down the inflammation. The steroid shot made him really thirsty, made him want more water, led to another issue with his kidneys. We had to do the 3-day water deprivation, all that stuff. It was a nightmare. And so got through all of that, but we just could not get that foot healed. And so we dealt with that for 2 months. It was a little over 2 months. No, I think uh, it was probably getting close to 3 months that we were trying to heal up that foot. And so we followed up with the vet and realized that he had a really bad toenail infection. And we don't know how this happened or why, or we don't know, but he had a toenail infection, and there was really only one antibiotic that could treat that toenail infection. And so it was a really strong antibiotic. And it was not just like a weak course of antibiotics. Like, the vet said, some dogs have to be on this antibiotic for, 9 months to a year before it actually gets rid of the infection. So we're like, okay, we're in for a long haul here. And so we got the antibiotic. And he did not tolerate it well at all. He had lots of side effects from it. He was vomiting. Okay, so anyway, the antibiotic made he was vomiting, he wasn't eating, and it did something to his legs. Like, he could not walk. It made everything so much worse with his legs and his joints. And like, there was one day where he couldn't walk to go outside to potty. He couldn't eat his food because he couldn't stand at his food dish. It was heartbreaking to see him trying to walk, and it was apparently a side effect of that antibiotic. So he couldn't be on the antibiotics. And so basically, the vet was kind of like, this is really the only thing that will treat this infection. And so we were like, oh my God, there's nothing we can do about this infection. And so, we let it go for a few days. His foot got worse and worse and worse. It was bleeding everywhere. It was inflamed and red. And then by this time, his front leg was a full on tremor. Like, he could not put weight on his front leg. And so there was a point where he's trying to walk. He's trying to hold his front leg up because it hurts to put weight on it. And then he's trying to hold his back leg up because it hurts, because it's inflamed and infected and bleeding. Um, so he had 2 bad legs. He was having trouble walking. It was bad. And so, and then it was like, all he wanted to do was sleep. He was just we couldn't get him to hardly eat anything. He didn't want to go outside. He just wanted to lay down and just sleep. And it was awful. So that is that's what happened. So we we are not people who will ever let our animals suffer. So I know there are people out there who will let their pets suffer until they die on their own. And we are not those people. Everybody has their own views on this, and everybody, has their own idea of what should be done. Um, we we never allow our pets to suffer any more than they have to. I mean, he was suffering. He was definitely suffering. Um, it, it got to the point where we loved him so much, we just couldn't let it go anymore. So, um, and the vet was like, this is the best thing you could do for him because there was nothing else we could do. We couldn't get rid of his infection. His legs were so bad at that point that, what were we gonna do? And so the last day that we had him, we, got him to go outside, and it was very obvious that his kidneys were doing the whatever thing that is that his kidneys always did. He was, you know, peeing everywhere. His kidneys were not doing what they were supposed to do again. And so we knew that was going to lead to another course of water deprivation. And I don't know, it was hard. It was really hard. So anyway, that is a really long version of what happened with Oakley. It's been really, really hard. It's been hard to be here without him. Every single room of our house has memories of him, so it's been really hard. I mean, every aspect of our day, our lives revolved around him. He was the center of our world. So, and now it's very hard to get used to him not being here. He used to sleep in bed with us. He used to be in this bed behind me while I was working during the day. Just every single thing about this house has really hard memories, but we feel comfort in knowing that he is not suffering anymore. And that is all that matters. When you love an animal so much, when you love them with all of your heart, you don't want them to suffer. So yeah, it's been really, really hard getting used to him not being here, but I have lots of pictures, lots of videos, lots of wonderful memories. And so, every time I think about how much I miss him, I think about how much he was suffering, how miserable he was, and, looking in his eyes and just seeing how miserable he was. It brings a little bit of comfort, to just know that he's not dealing with that anymore. And now we are the ones that are suffering without him. But so anyway, that's what happened to Oakley. And I know that each day is going to get just a little bit easier without him, but it's really hard. So I have lots of pictures and videos that I'm going to share just in memory of him. And that's all I have to say. Um, I will talk to you again soon. What do you want? You can't have the dirty dishes. No, you can't. No, you can't. No. No. You already had supper. You don't need the dirty dishes. Hi. Say hi. Hello, friends. What's up? He gets very confused when I do this because he can see me in the screen and I'm like talking and he's always he sees himself. He sees it. He sees himself and he's oh oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna have to pause this for a minute.
there? What? What? Oh my gosh. Really? Okay, something that is really, really funny is that we got this little shark. It's like a little floating shark that you put chlorine tablets in, and Oakley is absolutely obsessed with it. He was barking at it the first time he saw it. He is just infatuated with it. He has to come out and look at it all the time.